Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzon. Here's what's coming up on the program right now. Suspected bandits kidnapped 30 children in Kasai village of Batsari local government area of Katsina state. Abducted students from Delta State regained freedom after they were kidnapped along East-West Road in Ughelli North local government area of Delta State. And President Bola Tinubu attends inauguration of Senegal's president-elect Bassirou Diomaye Faye following his electoral victory in March. Welcome again to the program. We'll begin with another blight in the fight against insecurity. And the latest is the abduction of at least 30 children believed to have been kidnapped by suspected bandits in Kasai village. That's in Batsari local government area of Katsina state. Batsari is one of the several security frontline areas where activities of bandits and other criminal elements have been on the increase. Residents of the area told Channels Television in a telephone call that fresh attack on the children took place in the early hours of Monday when the victims were intercepted and kidnapped by the criminals behind the village area while they were in search of firewood for cooking. Both the government and security agencies are yet to comment on this particular development. Still on security, we have an update on the unspecified number of students who were abducted in Delta State. They have now regained their freedom. Although we're yet to get details on how they were freed, but we can tell you that the gunmen had abducted them while traveling along the Erewin axis of the East-West Road in Ughelli North local government area of Delta State. The Delta State Police Public Relations Officer, Mr. Bright Adafe, who confirmed the incident, says the kidnappers or the abductors, the passengers are believed to have been returning from their school in Calabar, Cross River State on Friday night when they were abducted from the minibus. According to him, the driver of the vehicle escaped that incident unhurt. And now the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Taoreed Lagbaja, has commended troops for their resilience and commitment towards keeping the country safe and secure in the face of myriads of security challenges. In a statement signed by the Acting Director, Army Public Relations in the headquarters of the Theatre Command, Captain Ruben Kowangia, the Chief of Army Staff, further charged the troops to remain more committed, determined, and focused in ensuring that the total defeat of the insurgents, marauders, and bandits, and all other elements of external and internal aggressions are brought to barest minimum, and the peace that is being affected in the country is being restored to its best position. The Chief of Army Staff handed down the commendation in his Easter goodwill message in Maimalari Cantonment by the Theatre Commander Operation Hadinkai, Major General Waide Shaibu, during the Easter luncheon celebration organized in honor of the troops of OPHK. General Lagbaja also enumerated his effort in terms of improved quality training and equipment towards combating the myriads of security threats confronting the nation. Bring you other stories away from issues of security, that the Easter festivity commemorating the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ may have come and gone as Christian faithful had celebrated this, but they did it and every other person in Nigeria amidst the economic challenges facing the country. The increase in the pump price of petrol as a result of fuel subsidy removal, inflation and rising food prices, among other factors, have made this year's Easter celebration a bleak for some members of the Christian community. This report brings the detail.
It's not the best of times for Nigerians as Christians celebrate Easter amidst economic hardship. At the popular central market in the Kaduna state capital, prices of foodstuffs continue to rise beyond the reach of average Nigerians, just as traders and customers complain in Jos over the high cost of food items.
I must say things are not easy. Things are not really easy. People are not finding it easy at all. Because I expect that since dollar is down, things are supposed to come down.
Previous Easter has been good, but this one is we are doing it with hardship.
We have to thank God first for being alive, despite the situation of the country. And it's not easy as a family man and also a businessman.
This year's Easter preparation is going to be a bit difficult. Reason being that initially, I know even I myself used to rear birds. We keep birds before the Easter period. But presently, with the high cost of the feed for the birds, where I'm not even able personally to even keep birds.
From Cross River to Enugu State, the situation is similar.
Well, it's not an audacious Easter. Thank God everybody knows the economic reality, the inflation in the country. My family, for instance, we have cut ourselves to size.
Some residents of the nation's capital also share their views on the economic situation as traders in Ogun State lament low patronage.
Actually, I'm into these graphics works, but since when this economic thing starts, we are not getting more customers as usual.
The market is not full today. So he was telling me no money in the purse. And people that have no money, they cannot come and buy.
Nigeria's annual inflation rate soared to a new high of 31.7% in February 2024, up from 29.9% in January and above market forecast of 31%, mainly due to the effects of oil subsidy removal and the devaluation of the naira. Between June 2023, when the foreign exchange market was liberalized, and mid-February 2024, the naira depreciated by 69%, leading to a major rise in the cost of imports and generally impacting the nation's import-dependent economy. Food inflation, which accounts for the bulk of Nigeria's inflation basket, continued to climb and hit 37.9% in February, the highest since August 2005, from 35.4% in the previous month. Amidst the dire economic situation, state governments continue to distribute palliatives to cushion the effect on citizens. The federal government equally directed the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to immediately release about 42,000 metric tons of maize, millet, and other commodities from their strategic reserves in a bid to ensure that food becomes more readily available to Nigerians.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has been directed to release about 42,000 metric tons of maize, millet and other commodities, gari and other commodities as in their strategic reserve, so that these items will be made available to Nigerians, 42,000 metric tons immediately.
The rising food prices and other economic pressures have forced many consumers to cut down on their purchases for the festive season, while traders, who often make brisk business during such periods, lament that business has been slow due to low patronage. They, however, hope the economy will pick up to enable them have better celebrations in future.
And away from issues around the economy, the TIV Traditional Council, led by the TIV, Professor James Ayase, has brokered peace between the Benue State Governor, Mr. Hyacinth Leah, or Reverend Father Hyacinth Leah, and the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume. The conflict reached its peak with the recent inauguration of a factional APC Executive Council by the Governor, a development that saw the police stepping in to take over the APC Secretariat to forestall violence. Worried by the worsening crisis, the TIV Paramount ruler, Professor Ayase, and his council invited the duo to discuss the differences at the TIV Palace in Boko. Professor Ayase tells journalists that peace has been restored between the two leaders and asks all to walk the talk for the growth of the state. And that will be the focus of our conversation. Benue has been in the news since that, what I call that political permutation or transposition, as I call it, where they made quite a landslide victory or, a shift in the political landscape of that state when the PDP was overtaken by the APC. But ever since, there's been one issue about all the other. And central to that issue is who is the leader of the party between the governor and the SGF. Who midwife or played a key role in the emergence of the governor as governor of that state. Well, it's been so much that the traditional ruler, the Totiv himself, had to come in yesterday to broker some level of peace for there to be development. It's almost a year now into the administration of Hyacinth Alia, and there has been this consistent back and forth over the leadership crisis of that state. We've been joined in the program to bring more light into that conversation that ended yesterday with the Totiv between the SGF and the governor, the Benue State APC Publicity Secretary, Mr. Danny Mohon. Mr. Mohon, thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
So can we now say that there is a bit of a semblance of some form of peace in the horizon, given the intervention of the Totiv?
Yes. The Totiv, His Royal Majesty, James Ozuayati, is the father of the Tiv nation, and we are all his subjects and his sons. And when he sees that there are things happening within his domain, within his kingdom, that is not too palatable, as the father who he is, he can step in, and that showed his face yesterday when he met with the exactly Reverend Father Hyacinth Alia, the governor of the state. And so we believe that his intervention is timely, and it will bring forth the needed peace in our state and our party.
So I know that that meeting held behind closed doors. Do you have an idea where things are right now? Because from what the general public is aware of, is a battle over who is the leader of the party. The SGF had played a critical role in bringing the governor to become the governor of the state. And from then, there has been this issue of appointments, slot, and all of that. So what exactly is the meaning of this peace? Is it now that they've agreed that the governor is the leader of the party, or the SGF will just help us make sense of what this reconciliation means?
The reconciliation is to bring peace within the party and to, of course, help move the state forward. The issue of leadership, who's leader in our party, is very clear. I was on this program the last time with the chief of staff to the governor, and I said it very clearly. The constitution of the APC is very clear on leadership. It is by convention, basically. And it is the leaders of the party is chosen by party members, someone who has sponsored the party, who can galvanize members of the party together, who has put the party together. And there's no single doubt who has put this party together and who is supporting this party from day one. He is the SGF Secretary to the Governor of the Federation, Senator George Akume. That's not in doubt. But of course, as a party, we have a lot of leaders within the party too. His Excellency of Hyacinth Alia is also one of the leaders of our party. But of course, the person who is control of the party, who the party members trust, who they believe in, who has governed.
Mr. Mohon, at some points we lost connection with you, but maybe I'll go to my next question within what technology can allow. The reason we're asking all of this, we've seen photo op by politicians. It's not a new thing. We've seen this. So that's why we ask questions to be very sure of the things we're seeing. I've asked a question about leadership. You are saying that it is clear who is the leader, the SGF. When we had a conversation with the chief of staff, that seemed not to be the position. He's not here to respond on the behalf of that group. So as it stands now, there's the Agada Austin group, which is the leadership of the party in the state, and there's Omakolo, whom the SGF himself went to inaugurate, I think, in one of the local government areas. So how has that been resolved now? Do we still have two party leadership in the state, one led by Omakolo and the other one led by Agada, or this is, let's bury the hatchet?
There is no doubt about who is the chairman of the party in the state. But as I've said before, the Totiv Ochiwi James has intervened, and we look forward to more robust engagement. We look forward to the governor and the party working together, and the AGF. So we look forward to better things to come. Of course, saying whether this is what is going to happen or not depends on what the governors continue to do from here. Of course, we believe that with this intervention from our father, the Totiv, peace has returned to the party and things will begin to go well.
Group, there's a proviso as to what the attitude of the governor will decide what next. That is what I have taken from the statement. This seems to be like what is really playing out even in Rivers State. The Minister of the FCT just granted a media parley for 2 hours, and he spent a lot of time talking about similar scenario, about the governor and the members of the House of Assembly and all of that. So what exactly do your group, I mean the Austin Ogada group, who are loyal to the SGF, what are you expecting from the governor going forward? In specifics, is it that Makolo should stop parading himself? The governor should recognize the SGF as the leader of the party. There should be some reshuffling of the cabinet. What exactly are you asking for? What is that position that you're asking for?
I said before that there is no doubt who the chairman of the party in the state. The National Secretary of the party has affirmed who is the chairman of the party in the state. The courts have also affirmed, right? So that legally and even within the party, the Austin Agada is the chairman of the party. It's been affirmed by the courts and the National Secretariat. But of course, there are friendly fire within the party, as I've said. And of course, the governor himself, he was there in the meeting, which was closed door. And I expect that we all expect that the good things will be able to come from henceforth. I wasn't in the meeting, but I know that when they came out, they exchanged pleasantries, the SGF and the governor hugged. And of course, we are sure, we hope that things will begin to get better. Of course, it's a long process, but the process has begun. The process of the Constitution has begun.
So, Mr. Mount, so far so good. It's been hours into that reconciliation, that meeting brokered by the Totiv. As the governor reached out to your camp or your group in any shape or form, at least to begin to have this conversation that, look, let's see how we can work things together. What are you hearing?
There are no camps in Benue APC. We believe that 1 hour is early. We know that there are things that they need to think through, and so 1 hour is too early. So let's give the process time. But we believe that peace has been restored in our party in Benue.
I know you're not in government, but you are one of the political leaders of the state. And one of the questions I want to put across to you, as well as the party in general, the APC is leading that party right now, that state right now, but Benue fiscal performance is not really something to be desired. In fact, the IGR is quite low, is highly dependent on FAC. The greater percentage of the money comes from FAC, and then we have about 9 billion also that came, I think, in 2022 or down 2023, about 9 billion from aid. So Benue generally makes money from IGR, FAC, and AIDS. And the FAC and the AIDS account for some significant portion of the revenue that comes to Benue State. In terms of IGR, the growth has not been as much as possible. When you're having your political conversation, do you also factor in how to upscale the economic fortune of the state? It's supposed to be the food basket of the nation, after all.
Yes, we during our campaigns, we promised the Benue people that we are going to better their lot, we are going to improve their lives, and this has to do with revenue, as you said, has to do with income of the state, and the party and the state government are looking towards improving IGR, and also, thank God for the subsidy that's removed, something better is coming to the state now. But of course, as you know, Benue is an agrarian state, and so we need to look toward that direction, to agriculture. That's our mainstay. And so we expect that in a few months' time, of course, there will be mechanized agriculture in our state. We believe that the government will provide implements for our citizens to farm and become very rich, because of course, agriculture can provide a lot for our state. And so that is where we're looking towards. We know the challenges are high, but of course, we promise the people and we will deliver by the grace of God.
One other issue that I must ask you before I let you go is the issue of insecurity, which is a big one and can hamper anything. We've had tolls of deaths. In fact, what happens in the Benue is synonymous with a carnage, because when you look at the number of people that have been killed in one form or the other, whether by militia headsmen or all of the people that carry out this criminality, is worrying. So as a party, what is in collaboration with the government, what kind of conversation, are you reinventing the wheel of what the Tom administration did with community guards and the issue of open grazing? How has that been effective so far, so good, since the Aisentalia administration?
I think we've had a resurgence of insecurity issues, but we believe that with much more robust engagement, with equipping the police, and also with the use of the community volunteer guards, these issues will lie low. These security problems are everywhere around the world. But of course, we must, as a state, create our own way of dealing with these issues. And I believe that the governor is not resting, the party will not rest. We promise to return peace to our communities, and we'll continue to engage our people so that the issue of security of lives and property in Benue will be improved.
Mr. Danny Mahon, Benue APC Publicity Secretary, I want to thank you for your time and, of course, for coming on the program. We wish your party the very best. We hope that this peace that has been brokered by the Totiv will really be peace indeed, so that we can start talking security, economy, and not internal wrangling between politicians in the state. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much. Peace will return to Benue State. Thank you.
Let's move on now. President Bola Tinubu is in Senegal. He's attending the inauguration of the country's president-elect, Bassirou Diomaye Faye, taking place today, according to a statement by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity. President Bola Tinubu, who is the chairman of ECOWAS, Authority of Heads of State and Government, will join other regional leaders to witness that inauguration at the exhibition center in Dakar. The president, whose trip is on the invitation of the Republic of Senegal, will be accompanied on the trip by the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Maitama Togo, and other senior government officials. The president is expected to return to Nigeria at the end of that inauguration ceremony. Let's now bring some more political talk right now. Just a few moments before I came on air, the Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, granted a media parley. And some of the things I spoke about is what I want to bring to the fore. He's saying that he's not controlling the River State House of Assembly, who had loggerheads with the governor, Siminalayi Fubara, over the following through the 8-point peace deal brokered by President Bola Tinubu last year, which was at the peak of that political crisis in the state. The fallout of that disagreement has seen the Assembly threatening to reinstate a shelved impeachment proceedings initiated against the governor. Mr. Wike in the media parliament maintains that he is not remotely controlling the lawmakers, but believes the governor should honor the deal for peace. On the recent press briefing by some PDP leaders led by former Transport Minister Mr. Abie Sekibo, asking the president to call the minister to order, while showing support for the president and Governor Fubara, the FCT minister describes their posture, that is the posture of the PDP leaders in the state, as that of opportunists who cannot stand by their words. The minister during the chat also expressed delight over the development and explained that the budget, not that development I should say, that the president has approved 1.1 trillion naira statutory budget for the 2024 fiscal year. He expressed delight over that development and explained that the budget will impact the infrastructure and healthcare development, as well as the rehabilitation of schools in the FCT, amongst others. This is part of what he talked about besides the Rivers politics, talking about the FCT budget. On the recent demolition of an estate belonging to one Nicholas Okachukwu in Asokoro, the minister maintained that the property belongs to the FCT and that the administration is not afraid of being taken to court. The minister added that all documents Mr. Okachukwu claims he acquired are, in his words, allegedly fraudulent, as he did not follow due process. So those were some of the things and the statement made by the minister concerning Rivers politics, as well as the issue of land grabbing in the FCT and the budgetary provision of the FCT. Let's take a listen to an excerpt of what he said.
The constant hackings coming from the House of Assembly, that you are in a position to do it because you more or less single-handedly put those guys
and put him there too.
And him too.
So what's the
problem? If he has problem with them, you are the door linking the two guys.
What is the problem now? Has he come to tell me that there's a problem? He wants to be on his own with these political vampires who are always sucking. My pity for them. They just want to take over these small boys, they are these young boys who thought that, they have a space now to make sure they get something from football. Now, these people can't withstand hunger since I kicked them out. So they now want to take over those boys' role to continue to suck football. First of all. Second dose, it's not a member of our party.
Some of the excerpts of that very heated conversation, the Honorable Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, on Rivers politics, on the budget of the FCT, as well as land grabbing. And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. You've been served on Lunchtime.